With the Ellis team at RE/MAX, it's a family affair. Always call the Ellis team, they'll handle you with care.
Welcome back to the Future of Real Estate. I'm Brett Ellis of the Ellis team at RE/MAX. You can always reach us at 239-489-4042, or don't forget our website, which is topagent.com. Today, we're giving our September 2003 Future Real Estate Report here in Southwest Florida. So I want to concentrate on a couple things and bring you up to speed as to what's going on in our market here. Okay, let's take a look at prices here. I'm going to show you what to look at and what not to even be worried about. Okay, our prices here maximize, these are median prices, at about, our average sale price is $292, and our median maxed out here in April at $182. And you notice it kind of started going down. Again, that's not alarming because we're up over last year, and all of our price increases the last several years have been occurring in the January price range, and then they max out in April or May, and then they slide back a little bit, and then they go up even higher the next season. So that puts a little bit of better perspective for you. So we predicted this was going to happen, and indeed it did happen again this year. So it's just something we keep our eye on. I've got a graph a little bit later on in the show, I think, that will illustrate that for you. Next thing I want to show you is the Ellis team numbers that we're coming up with. We've got a couple, for the time being, we've got a couple different MLSs here. That is going to change in about October, but you can see we peaked out this year, back in January, at 6,200 listings. That compares to about 6,400 January of last year. We are now down to 4,924 with the latest July numbers. So we're as low as we've ever been, is kind of what that chart is saying. And then if you look at, to kind of put sales prices in perspective, I like to show a chart like this that shows back in 09, prices were kind of riding along the bottom here. And even up into 11, they kind of rode along the bottom, but you can really see each season we've had our price increases. It happened this year, it happened that year, and of course it happened again this year. And it kind of comes back a little bit. But what we're really waiting to see is what happens. We'll ride along down here, just like normal years, and then we want to see what happens next season. We think they might even go up again. So I'm going to break it down a little bit differently for you, so you can kind of see really what's going on behind the numbers here in Southwest Florida. This is our cash sales graph. This is put out by the Florida Association of Realtors. And look at this. Back in 09, we had quite a number of cash sales. Those cash sales have come down, and they are now about 51% of all sales right now. So you can kind of see where they were. They maxed out in about January of 2011, and they've been precipitously coming down, to the about 50% range is where we stand now. So that's kind of an interesting concept. I think you'll see a lot of other people reporting on how many cash sales. So what that's telling us is financing is becoming available again, and that is rising, so that's a good sign. The next graph I want to share with you, let's go down to page 4 here. We keep a lot of graphs. This is our median sales price graph, and what you can see is back in 09, you kind of see where our median sales were. They were, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but probably around $80,000, $78,000. Look what's going on. This is a good graph, a good representation over time. Now, have they slipped back a little bit? Yeah, that's seasonal. That's happening. It happened last year. It peaks about April or May and then comes back a little bit, rides the wave, the trough down here through season, and goes right back up in season. We're seeing the same thing again this year. That's our median graph. Here's our average graph, and you'll see the same thing in the averages. The averages are a little bit higher than the median, but it's happening every season for the last 3 years, and it's happened again. And we'll probably ride down this trough here, and then we expect it to, if it follows the last 3 years, it'll go up again next year, and then we'll ride higher. You can see in July, every year, we're up, month over month from last year, or year over year from last year. So that's something we'll always keep our eye on. And one of the reasons for that is, let's look at the active listings. I showed you the Ellis team graph, but here is the inventory published by the Florida Realtors for Lee County. And look what happened back in 2009. It is falling. Like I said, precipitously. We are dangerously low. We were down around that 4,900, 4,924. We've got the same number they've got here. So that's what that looks like in graph format. we are down. So you wonder why prices are going up. And buyers are having multiple offers and having a hard time finding properties. It's because there literally isn't much inventory for buyers to look at. So the next graph I want to share with you is our median days on the market. And look at this here. Look at this graph. If you're looking at a home, let's say you're a buyer and you're looking at a home in the 50 to 100 or 100 to 200 down at this part of the graph, they're not staying on the market long. Now, if you're $1 million plus buyer over here, you've got some extra time. You're over 150 days. Same thing with 600 plus. You start getting, 400 to 600. We've got a lot of closings happening in that price range right now, and time on the market is just over 100 days in that end of the market. So our market is really changing. Our prices are going up. Our inventory is coming down. There's still some good inventory in the upper end of the market, but our market is drastically improving. I think you can see a big difference from where we were in 2009, 2010, 2011, and then you start to see that run up again. So if you're a buyer, you can't mess around. You've got to get with your realtor. You've got to structure your offer to compete against other buyers. You're not competing with the seller right now. You're competing against all the other buyers to get that property. And it's still a good time to buy because rates are low, and we think we've got a good chance for prices to go even higher from here. We don't think this is the height of the market. There's a lot of room for this market to move, especially when the economy comes back. Our economy really hasn't come back, and we've already seen the movement. What happened was our market got too low, artificially too low, and the market is correcting and seeing that, and there's room to go higher if and when the overall market goes higher. So that's just what we're waiting on. And then hopefully we'll have more inventory when the market actually eventually goes higher. So right now, we don't have enough inventory. If you're a seller, I'd call the Ellis team right now, 239-489-4042. It's a good time to sell. If you're a buyer, you want to do it now before prices go higher and before interest rates go higher. If you visit our blog at blog.topagent.com, a month or so ago, we had an article about if rates move a percent, how that takes about 9% buying power away from you. So just waiting on interest rates alone will cost you, not alone waiting on what may happen on prices. So even if prices stay the same, it's going to cost you if you wait. So that is our September 2013 Southwest Florida State of the Market Report presented by the Ellis team at RE/MAX. Feel free to search the MLS at topagent.com, and thanks for tuning in.
With the Ellis team at RE/MAX, it's a family affair. Always call the Ellis team, they'll handle you